It's time for another episode of the Nin-Cast.
Hello everyone, this is Logan589XP, and I'm finally returning to my original format. Well, sort of, well, I kind of did it before, but this is basically this is going to be the layout of the series from here on out, unless I get a capture card. Until I get a capture card, I'm just going to do this, have the new Nin-Cast and then the title or whatever, because honestly, I'm getting tired of having to record gameplay through the built-in Twitch Xbox One Live feature, so I'll just wait until I get a capture card before I do that. So from now on, we're just going to use this format, the template all saved and everything. Anyways, today we're going to talk about the recent NX rumors. And I was actually going to talk about this a few days ago, but I deliberately put it off because there was recent news coming out that AMD might have actually gotten the rights to make the chip and not NVIDIA, which of course would drastically change how the NX is going to turn out. And what do you know? What I mean by this? Well, basically everyone, including me, was super worried about the NX because a few weeks ago there was that rumor that it was going to be that Eurogamer article. It stated it was going to be like a Tegra-powered handheld with detachable controllers that you could put into a GPU dock on your TV. And I'm guessing everyone forgot about the GPU dock because that's what makes the console powerful. The handheld part is going to be the power of. It's going to be less powerful on the Xbox One. But when you plug it in to the dock, supposedly, if the rumor was true, which has been proven fake by this recent news, but if it was true, you could just put it in the GPU dock, then your games are at 1080p, better graphics, so that everyone that freaked out about, oh no, it's going to be another underpowered system, and not only that, it's a handheld. Well, it might not have been, even because the handheld would be the underpowered part. When you plug it in to the GPU dock that goes into your TV, then it would boost the power and graphics up significantly. But that doesn't matter because the rumor was just proven fake by this recent news. What recent news? Well, it's been recent news that AMD has actually gotten the rights to make the chip for the NX, which of course means that the Tegra rumor is now fake. And even if sorry, I'm skipping a lot right now. Even if AMD didn't reveal they had the rights, well, they didn't say it to the NX specifically, but it's been very, very hinted at their investor meetings that they are in fact going to be making the chip for the NX. And even if they didn't say anything, the NVIDIA rumor would have been proven fake for one reason. Conveniently, on the same day that AMD announced that, oh, we're going to be making the chip for something, everyone, I don't know how that all worked, but basically AMD got the rights to make that chip for the NX, right? Which of course is going to be their AMD system on a chip or their APUs. The same stuff that's used in the Xbox One, PS4, and the upcoming PS4 Neo and Xbox Scorpio. So they will be at least on par with the PS4. That's basically now confirmed. Which, up until that Tegra rumor was basically an assumption anyway, but then the second that Tegra rumor came in, everyone was exploding, oh no. And also, that interview at E3 where Reggie was like, we're not about the specs, we're about the games. You know, he's half right and half wrong, and the reason why I say that is, actually, hold on a sec. So yeah, it did sell the system at first, but of course, we all know that was only because, everyone wanted to play Wii Sports Bowling, and then once that died off, the system basically, well, became what the Wii U was, where it basically just was a place to play your first-party games and stuff like that. So the Wii, basically starting in 2008, 2009, it kind of died off, and it started being that system that everyone had, but no one really played it, and stuff like that. That's what I meant to say, by the way, because I accidentally forgot I was recording this part. So I just edited it back in, so it was back to what I was saying before. So yeah, the Wii sold well at first, and that's why it sold 100 million units. But, you know, that's only because everyone wanted to play Wii Sports Bowling. And once that died off, then, yeah. That was definitely, as everyone says, and I will agree, that was basically the exception. Okay, moving back to the regular discussion now. And the reason why I think that Reggie's statement of, we're not about the specs, we're about the games, is half right, half wrong. I think when everyone heard that, they were assuming that, oh no, it's going to be worse than the PS4. In the interview, they were talking about comparing the Neo and the Scorpio to the NX, and said that they weren't going to be as powerful as that. They did not state that they wouldn't be as powerful as the Xbox One or the PS4. And knowing their last two generations, let me explain. The original Wii was more powerful than the original Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube, of course. And the Wii U was, not by much, but it was technically more powerful than both the 360 and the PS3. So if the pattern continues, it would seem obvious to me that the NX will be more powerful, once again, not by much, but it'll be more powerful than both the PS4 and the Xbox One. I'm willing to bet it'll be between the PS4 and the Neo in terms of specs, which would be honestly enough, in my opinion, because the PS4 is the most popular console right now. I think it's sold like, what, 40 million units so far? Most games are being developed with the PS4 in mind and then ported to other consoles. Which means, and plus, even when the Neo and the Scorpio come out, there's going to be a bigger install base for the original hardware of the Xbox One, the PS4, versus the Neo and the Scorpio. Plus, they can't make exclusives for Neo and Scorpio, according to some leaked documents from both Microsoft and Sony. So, that whole, oh, the power is going to be garbage compared to Neo and the Scorpio. Well, even if it's not quite on par, it won't really matter because the games are going to be made with the PS4 and Xbox One in mind, not the Neo and Scorpio. What the Neo and Scorpio will offer is, of course, better graphics, higher resolution, better frame rate, but they cannot make games that are exclusive to those new platforms. Every game has to be compatible with the original PS4 and the original Xbox One, which in turn means that they are guaranteed to be compatible with NX, if it is more powerful than the PS4, like I'm pretty sure it's all but confirmed at this point it will. And considering how their previous two consoles beat their last generation consoles respectively, if that makes any sense. So that whole thing about the Scorpio and Neo are gonna wipe the floor of the NX in terms of specs. Will they be more powerful? I'm sure they will. But that's not really gonna matter because most games are gonna be made with the original PS4 and the original Xbox One in mind, since they can't make exclusives that take advantage of the better power of the Neo and Scorpio. So now that power is basically not the issue, it's really down to the controller and the price, and of course how well the console sells. As far as the controller, first things first, to everyone that complains that Nintendo makes gimmicky hardware, the only one that I really consider a gimmick was the original Wii. I liked the original Wii. I don't hate the original. It was actually like, it was the first Nintendo console I really got into, and I love a lot of games on it. But you can't deny that the Wii Remote was very different than a regular controller. With the Wii U, the gamepad was just a controller with a screen on it, and you don't even have to use it. See, I think everyone forgets you don't have to use the gamepad. Most of the major games, you can use the Pro Controller, which is just a regular standard controller. Now, I do agree you shouldn't have to buy it, it should just come in the box. In fact, when the Wii U first came out, there was a Zombie U bundle in Europe that came with the Pro Controller and the gamepad. Well, of course it comes with the gamepad, they always come with the gamepad. The biggest problem with the gamepad wasn't the gamepad itself, because the gamepad was a lot less gimmicky than the Wii Remote, and it was basically just a standard controller with a giant screen on it. And I don't see the problem with that, but whatever, everyone has their own opinions. So, yeah, you can use a standard controller. Because I've seen so many comments on, like, not on my videos, but, like, on other videos, where they're like, oh, but the Wii U is so gimmicky, the gamepad is so gimmicky. How is that a gimmick? I'm just saying, because it's just a controller with a screen on it. That's not near, if that's considered a gimmick, then the Wii Remote is like a super gimmick, because it was like this, it was like a TV remote with, like, motion sensors in it. Once again, I don't hate it, but it was a gimmick. And it did sell the system at first, but the... Okay, wait, where was I? Yeah, I got interruption. What was I talking about? I think I was talking about the original Wii or something. Oh yeah, I was talking about the whole gimmick thing. So, what was I saying again? Oh yeah, like, if you could... Like, the gamepad, I never really thought of it as a gimmick, because it's just a regular controller with a screen on it. I don't see how that's really a problem, but I think the big problem isn't the gamepad itself. I think that's fine. It's the price and what it's done for the Wii U. Because the Wii U's price has stayed at $300, despite the fact that the Xbox One, I think, is now $250. So the Wii U is more expensive than the Xbox One, which of course is like, yeah. They need to really drop that price, although at this point it's not going to happen because the NX is coming, of course. But that was one thing that they always wanted to do, but they couldn't. And Miyamoto and Iwata have stated numerous times, even Reggie, that the gamepad was the biggest reason why they couldn't drop the price of the console. Although they could have just did what Sony did with the PS3, and they could have just taken losses on the console, although, considering how much the Wii U didn't sell that well, that probably would have been an even worse idea to lose more money. The other thing was the biggest problem with the gamepad. It basically prevented the Wii U from being dropped in price. Because I think the console would have been worth buying if it was like $200, $250. That was what the original Wii costed around the time. That, like, let's say 2008, 2009. It was like $200, $250. Which was still less than the 360 and the PS3 at the time. I mean, the PS3 was still like $400, $500. 360, I think, was like $300. So, yeah, that's the biggest problem, I think, that Nintendo did with the Wii U. It wasn't the gamepad. I don't think the gamepad itself is the problem. Well, it is the problem, but it isn't. Okay. The gamepad as a controller, I don't think is the problem. I think it's the fact that it kept the price so high. And we know that one of the things that Miyamoto said that Nintendo's going to do with the NX is they want it to be affordable. They do not want to repeat the Wii U and have an expensive controller, like, make the system way... like, you know, cost more than it's really worth it. And ultimately, I think that was the reason why no one really bought a Wii U except for Nintendo fans like us. Is because people are not going to spend $300 for, like, three or four games. I know a lot of people are like, I would totally play Mario Kart 8, I would totally play Splatoon, I would totally play Hyrule Warriors, I would totally play Pokken Tournament, I would totally play this, I would totally play that, I would totally play Smash Bros. But I'm not going to spend $300 for one or two games. And I can definitely agree with that. The console should have been like $200 at this point. It should be $200 at this point. Even if it's just the 8 gig model, that would have still been better than nothing. Especially because most people buy their games on discs anyway. And unlike the PS4 and Xbox One, you don't have to install your games on the Wii U. Like, you can just put the disc in and it'll work. But hey, everyone has their thoughts. What was I talking about before? Okay, so anyways. Okay, I think we got on a major tangent here. What are we talking about again? Oh yeah, the AMD, NVIDIA, NX. Yeah, okay, let's get back to that. Point is... oh yeah, we're talking about the power. How the power wasn't really the problem. So yeah, like I said before, even when the Neo and Scorpio come out, and they are going to be more powerful, of course, than the PS4, Xbox One, and the NX, it's not really going to affect the NX having third-party support, because the Neo and Scorpio won't have exclusives. Both Sony and Microsoft have already said that they are not going to be for exclusives. They won't allow people to make exclusives just for Scorpio and just for Neo. All games have to be compatible with the original PS4 and original Xbox One hardware. So think of it as, say, PS4's medium settings, but PS4 Neo's ultra settings. Stuff like that. They just increase the graphics, the resolution, the frame rate, stuff like that, but the actual game is the same. And since most games are going to be developed with the original PS4 and Xbox One in mind anyway, because they're going to have the bigger install base than the newer models, that shows that if the NX is on par with the PS4, like I'm pretty sure it's going to be, third-party support will no longer be an issue of power, because they'll have enough power to put the game on there. Because most games are made for the PS4 and Xbox One in mind. And they'll simply just go to ultra settings or whatever when they're on the Neo and Scorpio. So the real thing on the NX that we need to worry about is if the console will sell. It's no longer a matter of the power of the console. It's now all about, will it sell? I think Nintendo will pull it off. And the reason why is because they've been so quiet on the NX. From its announcement in March 2015 and now, third parties have announced more games for the system than Nintendo has. Nintendo has only announced one game, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and even then that's basically going to be an updated port of the Wii U game. We've gotten Just Dance from Ubisoft, which no one really cares about, but it's still a game, so we gotta acknowledge it. Sonic 2017, another reason why I'm pretty sure the NX is going to be on par with the PS4, if not better, because Sonic 2017 is being made for next gen, no last gen, of course, so it means it would have to run on the NX, which means... And there's no 3DS version of the new Sonic game, by the way. It's just PS4, Xbox One, PC, NX, which once again proves that the thing has to be on par with the PS4. And on top of that, Square Enix announced a few days ago they're going to be releasing Dragon Quest X and 11 on the NX, which are PS4 exclusives. I think one of them has a 3DS version, but I know the Dragon Quest X has a 3DS version. Dragon Quest 11 is just PS4. I think. It could be wrong. But I know that both of them are PS4 games and they use Unreal Engine 4. So, day by day, there's more evidence that the NX is going to be powerful enough to run third-party games. So at this point, there is some third-party support already. We got Sonic, we got Dragon Quest, we probably have Final Fantasy VII Remake. Probably, I'm pretty sure we are because of the whole Clouded and Smash thing. I know a lot of people think that that's kind of overboard to think that that really means something, but everyone's suggesting, and even I do too, that Nintendo had to get some kind of special deal to put Cloud in Smash. And I would not be surprised if both Final Fantasy 15 and the Final Fantasy VII Remake come to NX at some point. So there is already some third-party support. There's not a ton of it yet, but there is some major third-party support happening. And we know that Take-Two and Bethesda and a few other companies are definitely paying attention to NX, and they're like, we're going to be paying attention to it, and we're not going to discount Nintendo out just yet. We're going to see how the system does, and then we'll decide from there. So that definitely is some good things for the NX. So, yeah. The future of the NX, so far, looks like it's going to be good. Of course, that doesn't mean that this is going to turn out great. And a lot of people pointed out that this is the exact same situation the Wii U started off in, when it was going to have a ton of third-party support. Even Valve was behind it, I think. I think even Gabe Newell was talking positively about the Wii U at one point. There was games in development, and then it kind of went down the tubes. But for some reason, I got a good feeling Nintendo knows what they're doing this time. Because one thing Iwata said when he was still alive is that they revealed the Wii U way too early. And now that they're going to reveal the NX maybe way too late, it's coming out in March. And it's going to most likely be revealed next month. So yeah. It just, yeah. Whatever the case may be, there is some solid third-party support already confirmed, and there are definitely some big third-party companies that are interested in making NX games. You know that Bethesda, Level 5, which of course makes Yokai Watch. I think Activision said something about the NX. I couldn't be sure. I think they said that they were going to be paying attention to the NX. And what was that other company I was talking about before? There was another company I can't remember, but like, you know, people are like, I know that a lot of companies have definitely said that they're interested in making games for NX. So at this point, since we know there's enough power in the system to play third-party games, it all comes down to if the system sells. That was one reason why the Wii... Well, I think the reason why Wii U got third-party support at first is because, remember, in 2012, 2013, even through 2014, games were made with the last generation consoles and then kind of just ported over to the next gen with better frame rates and graphics and stuff. And that's why the Wii U was able to play those games, because the Wii U is essentially an Xbox 360 in terms of power. So it was able for them to port the games over. Plus the fact that the Wii U uses the Power PC architecture, which is what the 360 uses, so that definitely helped it as well. And And of course, once everything moved over to the next gen, porting back to the Wii U simply wasn't possible because the power was too different. But since the PS4 Neo and the Xbox Scorpio will not supersede the original consoles, that means that the NX will be able to play all the third-party games that the NX and I'm screwing up right now. The NX will be able to play all the third-party games that the PS4 and Xbox One can play. So the power is definitely there. It's just how is it going to sell? And I think that'll depend on the price and what comes out at launch. Now we know that Nintendo's going to have Zelda at launch, which is a really good idea. That's something that would definitely sell consoles. I know a lot of people that are going to buy the NX just for Zelda, and it's a launch title, so that's definitely a big benefit. Also, the rumored ports of both Splatoon, was it Splatoon? I think it was Splatoon and Smash. Smash is definitely happening. If that doesn't get a port, I'm going to be super surprised if that doesn't get a port. Especially because a lot of people, including me, still want more characters and stuff. And I know Sakurai's probably tired to death of working on Smash. He's worked on it for the past 5 years straight in a row on Smash 4, and he wants to take a break. But then we knew a few months ago he's moved on to his next project, so yeah. Maybe that's Smash MX, maybe it's Kid Icarus Uprising 2, who knows. There's also been rumors that there's going to be a new F-Zero game and a new Kid Icarus game on NX, which to me sounds more like pie in the sky or whatever that paraphrase is, where it's like, that sounds awesome, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, knowing Nintendo, they're not going to do that. Who knows? We know that the only reason an F-Zero game on the Wii U wasn't made was because Miyamoto wanted a different controller. Anyone remember that Smosh interview with Miyamoto where he was like, oh, we want a special controller? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they have like a special controller for the NX, or the NX controller has like analog triggers or something. Because that was the one thing the Wii U gamepad and Pro Controller did not have. They did not have analog triggers. They had digital triggers. Whereas the PS4, Xbox One, even the 360 and PS3 before it, heck, the GameCube controller had analog triggers, but not the Wii U controllers. That might have been one reason why Miyamoto didn't want to do that. But hey, you never know. So we know we're going to get Zelda. We know there's a new Mario in development, unsurprisingly. At this point, I'm just going to say this. Please don't be 3D World 2. I don't hate 3D World. It's a decent game, but it's nowhere near Galaxy 1, 2, Sunshine, or 64. We need one of those type of games. Whether or not it's Galaxy 3, Sunshine 2, or just something completely different altogether, I want a true 3D Mario game again. And I'm sure we're going to get that with NX. Especially because Miyamoto said he's interested in making Galaxy 3. Or a game like it. So we'll have to see. So Zelda's officially confirmed. We know that Pikmin 4 is going to be on the NX. Well, it hasn't been confirmed that it's going to be on the NX. But it's pretty damn sure at this point it's going to be on the NX. Because there's no way they're going to release it on the Wii U at this point. They're going to put it on the NX. So that's Pikmin 4, Breath of the Wild, a new 3D Mario game of whatever, Just Dance, Sonic 2017, and Dragon Quest 10 and 11. And then, potentially, Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And of course, there's a ton of unannounced titles from both third parties and first party that we know nothing about yet. That's just what we know. There's still unannounced games from Nintendo. There's still unannounced games from third parties. We're going to find this all out in like a month or so. And it's definitely going to be exciting. So, I think it's about time we wrap this up. Especially because I have to upload another video as well. The long-awaited Tetsuya Vlog Part 2. Yeah, that's finally being uploaded after all these months. So, what's my point? So, here's how we're going to end it. The NX. It's basically been confirmed now. It's not a handheld. It's an actual console. It's going to be the power of the PS4 at least. Because, one, AMD essentially confirmed in a financial report that they got the rights to use the NX chip. Which means it's going to be their AMD APU, which is used in the Xbox One, PS4, and their two up-resed, powerful versions. So yeah. So far, the NX is looking like it's going to turn out pretty good. But of course, by the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see. I got hope in Nintendo, but I'm also not going to have unrealistic expectations. Although at this point, in terms of the power of the system, yeah. Okay. So the point is, it's going to be made by AMD, it's going to be a console, and it's going to be as powerful as the PS4. That's basically all confirmed at this point. Which means third-party games are going to be able to happen. And since there's no exclusives on the Neo and Scorpio that can take advantage of that hardware, the NX doesn't have to worry about being superseded by the Scorpio or Neo in terms of power as much. Since games are going to be made with the original PS4 and Xbox One hardware in mind anyway. So porting over would be pretty easy. Overall, the future is bright for Nintendo and the NX, but we're just going to have to wait and see what really happens next month. And with that being said, this is Logan589XP, signing out. Thanks for watching.